Hello, IB Global students. I'm gone today, as you have known for the past 2 weeks. I am at a personalized learning conference downtown. What is personalized learning, you may ask? It's what you do in this class nearly every single day. I'm learning how to make this class better. So, on to class things. Your Nazi Germany evidence was due Monday, but if you need to turn it in, do that in the folders today. Don't forget your unit packets with the reflections, as well as a half-sheet evidence reflection. Today, we begin to study this guy, Mao Zedong, or in Chinese, he is Mao Zedong. So, who was this guy? If I showed you this graph and told you these are the numbers of people that died unnecessarily under the rule of these leaders, you would probably figure a famous guy named Hitler would be at the top. You would be incorrect. He was only third on this list. It is estimated that Hitler willfully killed about 11 million European citizens. This guy named Stalin was ruler of the Soviet Union for about 25 years and averaged killing about 1 million people each year he was in power, for a grand total of around 25 million people. But Mao Zedong's failed agricultural and economic policies led to an estimated 60 to 70 million unnecessary Chinese deaths. And though he died in 1976, he is still quite important in Chinese politics today. During his time in power, he created the term Mao thought, or Maoism, which basically meant that the things that Mao said or thought became law and were the supreme law of China. Last week, for the first time since Mao died, the leader of China, a guy named Xi Jinping, has his thoughts and laws, Xi thoughts, put directly into the Chinese constitution. He is approaching the level of power and influence in China that Mao once had, and observers have started comparing him to Mao. So to begin learning about this power-mad fellow, today, by popular request in the survey you did a couple of weeks ago, you'll be watching a movie to introduce to you what it was like in Mao's China between about 1947 and 1976. This movie is called Mao's Last Dancer. It's about a Chinese boy who grows up to be a famous ballet dancer. I know what most of you are thinking. Ballet? He wants me to watch a movie about ballet? I know. A student recommended that I watch this movie, and I thought the same thing. For 4 years. Until I was desperate for an activity for class when I had to plan something last minute. So I watched it, and it was awesome. It has some great things you can learn about Mao's China if you pay attention closely, and it allows you to compare and contrast Chinese society and American society during this time period, as well as compare and contrast China during and after Mao's rule. It is about this guy named Li. It can be a little confusing at the beginning. It starts with him as a child in school. Be sure to pay close attention to his school. Then it jumps kind of quickly to him in his teens and 20s. Based on the skills we have been practicing all year, I'm not going to give you a handout with detailed questions for every 5 minutes of the movie like you're in 8th grade. Instead, I'm going to do what we've been doing all year. Give you a guiding question or two with a blank sheet and have you take your own kind of notes with any information that helps you answer those questions. But I will give you some suggestions on how to do this. The questions are compare and contrast questions, so the similarities and differences between different places and times. Before you can compare and contrast, you need to summarize. You may want to divide your sheet in half and list characteristics of Li's China on one side and characteristics of America on the other. Or you don't have to, it's up to you. That's why we're doing it this way. Then, when the movie is over, you can summarize in a short paragraph how they were similar and how they were different. These notes will count towards some of your notes for the end of the unit if you want them to. And, since I'm not here, I'll give you a cool $100 global dollars next class if you do a good job on them. So enjoy the movie. It's not all ballet, I promise. There's a decent amount of comedy in it if you're paying attention. So turn in your phone, buy a granola bar or four, and enjoy.